YouTube? It's your girl. Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new here, hello, hello, and welcome. Please be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from your girl. As y'all can see today, y'all, I got a calling for MrBallen. Okay, I gotta use my bar, y'all. I came up with that, okay? That's so lame. Okay, I'm so lame. Don't laugh, y'all. Anyway, as y'all can see today, I'm getting into MrBallen, the most terrifying killer, the Jayme Closs story. I've heard like little bits and pieces of the story, so I'm interested. Obviously, you know, MrBallen gives us the story like in just, you know, a detailed, like vivid picture form. Okay, I can literally see everything that's going on right in front of me by the way that he gives his details in his story, y'all. So I had to, when I saw this, just because perhaps he's about to give me the whole like 411 on the whole situation. But I'm interested to see how this goes. So let's get into it, y'all. Get your popcorn ready and let's go on and get into this video, y'all. Ow.
Cases like this don't happen. Hey, what's going on, guys? MrBallen here. You probably know me from TikTok. In fact, I bet there's a percentage of people that are on this YouTube video just because they watched my TikTok version of this case, the Jayme Closs case. And so thank you for making the jump and watching the full version. I hope you'll stick around and you'll actually subscribe to my channel, because I'm trying to make YouTube my primary medium for sharing stories with the world. It'll be much the same content that I'm putting on TikTok, you know, scary stories, murder mysteries, unsolved stuff, spooky stuff, dark stuff, just kind of anything that's compelling. And YouTube's going to be the place where I try to do that primarily. And so I'm already committing to doing you know, one video on YouTube a week. I'm trying to make it 2. This is the first week I've done 2, so we'll see how it plays out. I do have, you know, 3 kids and other job responsibilities, so it's a little hard to juggle, but I love doing this stuff. So please, if you enjoy this video and you like my content, please subscribe, please stick around. So with today's case, the Jayme Closs case, the reason I ended up choosing this one and making a TikTok version of it and now a YouTube version of it is actually pretty straightforward. It's because even though it's true, if you were to make a movie out of this case, the viewers wouldn't really believe it, because the perpetrator in this case has no motive and has no history of committing any crimes. I think he had a parking ticket. And he targets a child. I mean, putting that all together, you don't see that. That is not a popular archetype for a movie. The idea that there are just these random, you know, perpetrators out there just targeting random children and harming them and their families.
That's awful.
There has to be a motive, especially when it comes to children being involved. There has to be a motive.
Right.
And in this case, there really wasn't. And even the perpetrator, when he was in prison, he wrote a letter to Jayme and her surviving family members where he kind of tried to explain why he did it, but even he didn't have strong enough language to communicate what it was. He made it seem like it was pretty complicated, and even he didn't know. He just said, hey, look, I'm not a serial killer. I just had to do this, and I don't really know why. So it's just one of the more disturbing cases when you go into it knowing that this whole thing was perpetrated by someone who had no criminal history. He had no connection to the victims, except that he randomly had a chance encounter with one of them. And it just kind of happened. It's just one of those horrible things that even now, no one really understands, including the killer himself. So let's dive into it. In 2018, 21-year-old Jake Patterson is on his way to work at a cheese factory in Wisconsin. He'd only been working there for a couple of days. This is like his 3rd day on the job. You know, he's this kind of typical guy leading a typical life in Wisconsin. And he's driving his Ford Taurus. He comes to a stop behind a school bus where middle school kids are getting on the bus. And he's sitting there, and he looks up and he sees, for the first time in his life, a blonde-haired, green-eyed girl who ended up being 13-year-old Jayme Close. And as he's sitting there, because this all came out in a very lengthy confession, so we have lots of details about this case. As he's sitting there watching Jayme, who again he doesn't know, get on the bus, he has this realization that she is going to be the girl that he takes. He actually says that sitting behind the wheel, he's like, I realized right then and there that she's the one I'm gonna take. And so a guy...
How do you sit there and realize that you're gonna just take somebody's kid? What? Somebody make it make sense. How do you... Like, she didn't do anything. She didn't like make any type of like, yo, that's eerie as hell. This little girl ain't did nothing. She ain't did nothing. She probably didn't even look your direction good enough for you to even see her face completely. Like, how you just gonna choose somebody's child? Like,
it's like, I realized right then and there that she's the one I'm gonna take. And so a guy with no criminal history, he's sitting there coming up with this plan of how he's gonna abduct this girl. And it would come out later in his confession, which again was very lengthy, that he put a ton of effort into planning out this abduction. So let's talk about Jake's plan. He takes his father's Mossberg 12-gauge shotgun, which is a very commonly purchased weapon. He assumed that because it is, you know, so widely purchased, it would be hard to track. Okay, so he takes his gun, takes a couple slugs, so he's got his weapon. Then he goes and purchases a balaclava, so a mask, a whole head mask from Walmart. He shaves his head, shaves his beard so that there wouldn't be any hairs, for forensic evidence.
Wow,
so premeditated. He went out and purchased gloves and wiped his gloves all so they wouldn't have prints on them. He purchased steel-toed boots and dark jeans and a dark jacket. In the car he was going to use, because he plans on abducting Jayme, and he knew he was going to be keeping her in the trunk. He cut the cord inside of his vehicle. It was when you press this button inside the car, it would open the trunk. Basically, he didn't want any access to the trunk unless he had the key. So he cuts that cord. He disconnected the dome light inside of his Taurus, his Ford Taurus, to try to better conceal him when he's in the car. I mean, this guy, he's really thinking hard about how he's going to do this. He knew he was going to go in that house, he's going to take Jayme, and he had his big plan, right? 2 separate times, Jake tried, unsuccessfully, to abduct Jayme. He drove to their house the first time, and there were cars in the driveway, so he got spooked and he leaves. He comes back, and he's about to drive up the driveway when lights come on, so he leaves again. But on October 15th, 2018, unfortunately, he was successful. It was around midnight when Jake Patterson rolls into the Close family's driveway. The lights in his car are off, the headlights are off, and he rolls into the driveway. And inside of this very modest home, Jayme was sleeping with her dog, Molly. And Molly hears the car pull into the driveway and starts barking. Wakes up Jayme. Jayme looks out, she sees a car she doesn't recognize, it's the middle of the night, and she runs to her parents' room and she alerts her parents. Jayme's father, James, he goes to the front door with a flashlight. Meanwhile, Denise, that's Jayme's mother, and Jayme retreat into the bathroom where they shut the door. They sense that this was potentially going to be a home invasion, and certainly they were right.
Dang, y'all, man, I just cannot even put into words, y'all. Just for you to go and invade somebody's privacy, their home, where you are supposed to feel safe at night, when you close your eyes and go to bed, and the dog alerted them, which thank God they had at least that much time to react to it. It wasn't like they sat there and waited for it. Like, they were trying to take precautionary measures. I feel like that's just, damn, y'all. Woo. Every time I hear this, I'm just like, man, why
Sense that this was potentially going to be a home invasion, and certainly they were right. So they actually barricade the door with a dresser that was in there. And they get in the tub and they shut the curtains. And so James is at the front door and he watches Jake Patterson get out of his car, calmly walk up the steps to the front door. And at this time, James is thinking that perhaps this is the police. And so when Jake arrives at the door and starts banging on the door, James shines his light out through the window, kind of gets a peek at him, then moves over to the door itself where there's this little tiny window on the door. And he looks through, shining the light, and he says, "Show me your badge." And unfortunately, it was at the same time that Jake raises his shotgun and pulls the trigger, shoots right through the glass, hits James, and James dies immediately. Back in the bathroom, Jayme...
You gotta be bold as hell. You got to be bold as hell just to walk up to somebody's door and knock on the door. Like, y'all, he was determined. Like, it was like this man was not gonna stop at anything to get this little girl up out this house. And she didn't even know, like, nobody even, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's no way to put this story together where it's just like, what did she do? What did she do? This poor baby, y'all. She got... Let's just let him keep going. Let's just let him keep going. And you know, big brave dad comes to the rescue to try to, you know, protect his girls. And he the first one to go. You know what I mean? Like, that's like my worst freaking absolute nightmares. Like, take out the one that's gonna fight the hardest first. And then, you know what I mean? You got the two weaklings in the bathroom hiding. And I'm just like, man, like, and I mean that respectfully. I mean, just because I'm like, you know, perhaps I feel like if it came down to it, they would have fought too. They just didn't have that opportunity. You know what I mean? Like,
immediately.
And
back in the bathroom, Jayme would later say that when she heard that shotgun blast, that she knew that her father was dead. And I think Denise, her mother, knew that as well, because immediately Denise picks up her phone and calls 911 as she's talking to the dispatcher, who said that there were no police in the area, so further confirming that this was definitely not the police, because they didn't see that interaction at the door, they just heard it. Jake at the front door is trying to bust in the door. He can't do it, so he takes a shotgun, ejects a spent round, and then puts a slug through the doorknob, making it come wide open. He pushes it open, steps over the body of James, and begins to search the house. The house is empty, every door is open except one, and it's the bathroom door where Denise and Jayme are hiding in the bathroom. Jake begins to try to push the door open. He can't do it, and finally he just starts trying to smash the door in. And after 10-15 blows, he actually managed to split the top half of the door open because the dresser was blocking the lower half. He goes into the bathroom and he rips down the shower curtain, and there is Denise bear hugging and protecting her daughter, Jayme, in the tub. Jake hands duct tape to the mother, Denise, and tells her to put duct tape over the mouth and the hands of her daughter. She refuses. She's protecting her daughter. Jake sets his shotgun down, pushes Denise aside, and does it himself. And then, after getting Jayme out of the tub, he picks his shotgun up again, aims it at the mother, turns his head, and he pulls the trigger, and he kills the mother. Picks up Jayme. She's only about 5 foot, 100 pounds. And he drags her out to his car, opens up the trunk.
Oh, God, y'all. This stuff is terrifying, y'all. Ooh, that child, that baby. Y'all. Just in that literal moment of her having to witness that, seeing her father, okay, because she saw it. I'm pretty sure she probably saw her mother in a vulnerable position, just where it's like, there's nothing I can do while I'm here down on my knees. Like, you're telling me to tape up my daughter. Like, it's just like, the worst part of it all is, I mean, not only did she lose her parents, but like, she lost a huge part of her. You know what I mean? Like, for nothing. She didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. Like this nice little modern family, just minding their business, just doing what they do, just doing what parents are supposed to do. Like provide, you know, to take care of their child, to raise their daughter, to be the best parents that they know how. And they were doing exactly that, even up to the last minute, y'all. The mom was like, "You gonna take me first you can't take my baby unless you take me first." And I feel like any parent probably would have done that. I would have. I would I would take a bullet for any of my kids any day, any day of the week. You know what I mean? Like if it takes me to protect them and I gotta lay over them to take 50 bullets, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? And that's what this mom did. And it just, what an ass. What a fucking ass. Seriously.
5 foot, 100 pounds, and he drags her out to his car, opens up the trunk of his Taurus, puts her in, shuts it, and he's on his way. He was in the house for a total of 4 minutes. He would say in his confession, Jake, that as he's driving away, about 20 seconds after departing the house, he saw all the cop cars coming down the road, and actually police officers would say they remembered a Taurus yielding to the police cruisers as they came in. He makes his way around them and off he goes. And Jayme would say she remembered hearing the sirens and then they fade as they disappear. Jake would drive 70 miles to his house where he would keep Jayme prisoner. For the next 3 months, investigators, the local population, everybody is looking for Jayme. And at the same time, I mean, people didn't have high hopes for her safe return. I mean,
right?
The vast majority of cases like
y'all, and I remember too, I thought the same thing. I remember seeing this case like on the news, and they were saying that they had been looking for this girl, and I'm like, there's no way. If they found the parents like that, there's no way that this baby is breathing somewhere. Unless and if she is, she's going through torture, she's going through hell, she's living in misery, okay? Pain, suffering. Like, the list goes on and on. This poor baby. Like, and then she has to live with that, y'all, every day. She has to live with that for the rest of her life. Remembering that night, replaying it. I can only imagine the fear, the terror in her eyes, in her mind, what this man was about to do to her, how this was all about to go down. Because if he did that, I'm just like, shoot, I can't put nothing past hope at this point. Like, there's no freaking way. There's no way. And he sure is not gonna let me go that easy to just put a bullet in my head and then that's gonna be it. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, I would just be thinking that, like, oh, I either got to take myself out, or however I'm finna go out, it's finna be in the worst way. It's finna be in the worst way, okay?
Like these, where a child's been abducted, unfortunately, they usually don't get home safe. And so the whole community is just devastated. This is gaining national attention. Everybody's looking for Jayme and they can't find her. The whole time, she was being held 70 miles away in Jake Patterson's cluttered, kind of crummy house that was out in the middle of the woods. When they got to his house, he burned her clothes and his gloves and the duct tape. He gave her his sister's pajamas, and then he had her go under the bed, this bed he had in the house, and he barricaded her underneath the bed. And so she had a pillow and a blanket, and she was just underneath this bed. That was it. She basically was ignored. I mean, her captor, Jake Patterson, he puts her under the bed and he warns her, if you leave or try to escape, bad things are going to happen to you. And because she did witness him kill her parents, she knows he's capable of that, and he knows that she knows that he's capable of that. So he had this stranglehold on her where he basically just said, you're staying under the bed. And don't you dare leave. And she listened. And frankly, you can't blame her, right?
Right.
And so she would go stretches of 8, 10, 12 hours of laying under the bed with no food, no water, no bathroom breaks. But ultimately, she was just kind of ignored. There wasn't really a plan for, you know, what was going to happen when she got to the house. He just kind of neglected her. After 2 weeks where he was really on guard, and he told her that he was keeping a shotgun right outside her door in case anything went down with the police, when no one came looking for them, or when no one arrived at his place, he felt very confidently that he had gotten away with his crimes, to the point where he actually, Jayme would say, he started having guests over. You know, he had friends over, and he just told her, stay in the room, don't come out. And so for 87 days, that's how it was. She just was neglected. This poor girl was underneath this bed, you know, just wondering what the heck's going to happen, with obviously no time to grieve over the loss of her parents.
Wow.
Mr. Patterson, he really didn't leave the house. And when he did, I think he left one time to visit a grandparent, and he was very aggressive in warning her that he would hurt her if she tried to leave. But for the most part, you know, he didn't leave the house. But you could tell in looking at this case that he became fairly confident that he was just going to get away with this. And so he actually applied for a job. And he left one morning to go to the interview. And it's kind of funny, on his, in a dark way, he wrote on his, what did he write? On his application that he's an honest, hardworking guy. And under skills, he said he doesn't have much work experience, but he shows up to work and is a quick learner. And so here he goes. He goes out to just get a job and go back to normal. And when he left that morning, Jayme, who's under the bed, is just, she's done. She's not going to be a captive anymore. And as soon as he leaves, she pushes aside the barricade of, you know, there's some weights that were there and dressers. She pushes it all aside. She runs out. She puts on his shoes, which are too...
Good for you, Jayme. I'm so proud of her. Like, that took so much courage and strength, and just, you know, she had to put everything aside. Like, look, if he gonna shoot me, he gonna shoot me in the back, because I'm finna go. Like, I know he gone. Like, I gotta, this is her one time, like her one chance to make it. Like, I can just, oh gosh, good for Jayme, man. I guess that's like the one good part about this story, is that this girl had the strength and the courage, and, you know, mustered herself together somehow to make a run for it. And I mean, that's about as smart as she can get, you know. Like, she did everything that she could to, you know, keep herself alive to some degree. But I'm just like, man, like, dude thought that man, you got your friends and stuff coming over here. Like, whatever he got coming to him, y'all, in terms of punishment, you deserve every bit of it. Every bit of it. And some.
She puts him on the wrong feet, and she runs out the door. She doesn't know where she is. She doesn't know anything, but she's gone. A woman was walking her dog around 4 p.m. Her name was Jeannie Nutter, and she sees this girl, this teenager, who doesn't have a coat on. She doesn't have gloves on. It's bitterly cold. They're in the middle of Wisconsin in the wintertime. And she sees her coming towards her, and she can tell kind of instinctively that something's wrong. Okay, this is not just some nice kid coming down the road. There's an issue here. And as she got closer, and the girl said, "I'm lost. I need help. My name is Jayme," the woman, Jeannie, said that she immediately knew who it was. She lived in the area, and she had seen the posters up for Jayme. She knew exactly who she was. She gave her a big hug and held her and said, you know, "I've got you. I'm going to take care of you." And so, holding her closely, she brings her to a nearby neighbor's house. She said, this is Jayme Close. We have to call the police." And they go in there, and the homeowners got their weapons out, and they guarded the door, and they huddled around Jayme while Jeannie called the police. And the police just didn't even know what to do. They were so shocked that they had found Jayme Close that it actually took a minute for them to recognize what they were saying and how urgent it was that you come here right now, because at some point her captor, who can't be that far away, is going to recognize that she's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they send the police, and, you know, luckily Jayme is brought in and is saved. You know, certainly not from the emotional toll, but she's physically safe. Jake comes home from his big job interview, and he sees that Jayme's gone, and he sees footsteps leaving his property in the snow, and he goes out looking for her. And, you know, just because this is the way things go sometimes, he was immediately rounded up by the police. They found his car, they found him, And as soon as he was pulled over, he didn't resist. In fact, he immediately identified himself and said that he did it. Jake Patterson was given a life sentence without the opportunity for parole, so he will die in prison. But to this day, no one really understands how this could have happened. And going back to what I said at the beginning, cases like this don't happen. There's always some reason for a crime such as this. We can't, as human beings, accept that some stranger has the ability to randomly target a child and go as far as to kill their parents in front of them and hold them hostage when they have no criminal history. There's no red flags. It just, he happened to see her getting on a bus, and that was all he needed. I mean, how could that possibly be the case? But in this unfortunate case, it just is. So that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit like and subscribe. I'll be doing stories like this one and many more, you know, mysteries, scary stories, spooky stuff, interesting stuff on this channel at least once a week. So I hope that you will continue to tune in. And please follow me on social media. I am MrBallen on TikTok, and I am John Ballen 416 on Instagram. If you have story suggestions, you can hit me up on Instagram, and I will definitely get back to you. So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you all very much. Talk to you soon.
That's the kind of stuff that just irritates me. It just this poor child. I hate that so much for her. Just because she has to live a lifetime of that horror. Like, what was going on? Like, she didn't even say goodbye. She didn't get to say I love you. She didn't even get to kiss her mom. Like, she didn't get to hug her dad. She didn't get to see their funerals. She didn't get to get any of that. You know what I mean? And it was like he took it all away from her in a matter of 4 minutes. From the moment he pulled into the driveway to the time that he actually is leaving, driving past the police. And it's just like, man, I just know in my mind, y'all, just to hear the sirens freaking fading away, like, y'all are going the wrong way. Y'all going the wrong way. Come back. And she probably thought that she wasn't gonna make it. Like, she probably thought that this was gonna be the end for her. This was the end result, like, end all be all. Like, wherever he take me, that's gonna be what my demise is. Okay, I'm going down. Like, wherever I go, that's it. And like I said, I'm so proud that this girl had the courage and the strength to, gather herself and run. That's the only thing that you can do. Anybody out there that ever gets in a situation like that and you have an opportunity to run and do not look back. Okay, like, run as fast as you can go, as far as you can get there, as fast as you can go. Do not look back and just keep running, because eventually you're gonna run into something, to somebody. What an unfortunate story, y'all. Damn, I just feel sorry for her family. Like, more so just for her. She has to live, like, she's still young. This was in 2018, I think he said. So yeah, she's just now 18, maybe going on 19 years old, and she has to, this is the memory that she has of her parents passing. Like, wow. Wow. For what? To put her under a bed. You know what I mean? Like, come on, y'all. Like, I can't. If y'all enjoyed this video, be sure y'all give me a big thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos from your girl. And if ain't nobody told y'all, I love you. And I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. Peace.